Hey you guys, Melissa Walsh here. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm here to share my story around the decision to ditch the dye. This topic, this decision, this idea came to me by surprise. This is the last thing I would have ever thought was on my horizon. Now, before I get into kind of the recent turn of events, I want to give you just a little snapshot of a backstory so you have an idea of where this is coming from. Over the past 3 years, I've been on what I feel like this accelerated journey, like really diving deep into who I am, what I'm here to do, who I'm here to serve. What does that look like now? Taking risks, doing things scared, the works. I mean, looking back over this last 3 years, I'm kind of surprised at myself. With this has come this fear of what people think about me or what will they think about me, because I was conditioned to be a certain way, especially having a mainstream medicine background. So I really didn't want to be the one going against the grain. But the time came that I was being called, guided, and getting excited about doing something different and having conversations that opened doors, opened minds, and opened hearts. So here we are. Fast forward to today. I've chipped away for the last few years, going deeper and deeper into releasing this grip and allowing that what others think hold me back. I feel like I've connected with myself at a level that the time has come to bring the inner transformation, the inner beauty, the inner freedom out to the surface. So this is how it went. About a week and a half ago to 2 weeks ago, I was sitting with myself and I was like, dang, like, I really wish I could just do that thing. But, what are they going to think? And then I told myself, here I go again. I thought I was past that. Nope. I'm just going deeper. And I'm like, man, I feel like there's some resistance. Like, why can't I just go with these new ideas that I have? So that night, as I was going to bed, I had an experience. And you guys, I see a lot of things. I feel a lot of things. I've had multiple, what some people call mystical experiences. And I had one as I was going to bed. When I go to bed, I imagine and I take myself to a space that I really enjoy feeling. I take my mind to a feeling and I imagine that feeling emanating into my being. And that night, the word freedom popped in my head. I'm like, freedom? Wow. Yeah, that. And as I'm laying there and I'm feeling and imagining what this freedom feels like in my being, it felt so good. Like freedom in all ways, freedom in all things, no more constraints, nothing holding me back. And suddenly I felt this whitish blue light. It was like a ribbon and it was spinning around me. I was like, wow. And with that light came even a deeper sense of freedom that I hadn't experienced before. Like, oh man, this is awesome. This is like the freedom activation, right? Then I saw these light forms. It was like these geometric shapes moving through me. And in this whole time, the sense of freedom, this feeling that I longed for, was like penetrating my being. When it was finished, I heard, "You are free." I was like, awesome. And I'm still feeling that sense of freedom. Now my humanness comes in and says like, oh, wow, what's this going to look like? Anytime there's these activations or these new experiences in the inner, we know it brings experiences on the outer. So I'm like, what's this going to look like, right? The next day, not really thinking about what had happened the night before, I caught myself looking in the mirror. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my hair. It looks so bad. Oh my God, I need to get my roots done. I cannot believe I have to wait another 4 weeks to get my hair done. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm so gray. And in that moment was actually the first time I had this awareness about myself, where it was almost, I was observing myself from outside of myself and watching this conversation take place. And I had this realization that I was like, what? Like, oh, I don't like that feeling. The next awareness came was, I do this every 5 weeks. And I didn't even like realize it. I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. But in that moment, I had this new realization. I was like, whoa, I do not like how that felt. Oh, that just totally pulled me out of alignment. Okay, so I leave the bathroom, not thinking much of it, move on to something else, right? Later that day, I went on a walk and I got this strong idea. Ditch the dye. I was like, what? And then I was like, how would you feel if you didn't have to go have your hair colored every 5 weeks? You didn't have to suffer through itchy head and can't hardly sleep the first night because your scalp itches so bad. Like, how would you feel? And I was like, free. And that caught my attention. I was like, free, freedom. How would that feel to not care what other people think about you or your gray hair, for that matter? They're like, oh, such a relief. Freedom. And there's that word again. And when I dropped that idea into my heart space, there was this little tiny excitement, like, oh, that'd be awesome. And then comes the ego. In 2 days of mental exhaustion, overweighing the pros and the cons and the this and the that and the what ifs, my poor husband listened to this for 2 days. to when on the morning of the third day, I told him, okay, I've decided. I'm not going to color my hair anymore. He's like, okay, cool. He's supportive in what I do. He's like, yeah, that's what you want to do. Awesome. Like, he's totally cool with everything, which is helpful. And I started to talk about it some more. And he goes, Mel, I'm sorry, but I just can't discuss this anymore. You're overthinking this. And I was like, okay. And he's known to give me like these one-liners out of the blue that just sums up everything really quick and in a good way and kind of puts me in my place. And that's what he did. He threw out a wise Buddha quote, something about the self and this or that. I can't even remember. And it stopped me. I was like, oh yeah. And after that, I was at peace. Then I was getting kind of excited about it. That day, of course, I'm looking up pictures and stories and Instagram accounts and Facebook groups of all these people who have decided to embrace the gray. I talked to hairdressers, my friends, my sister-in-law, the list goes on of people that day, getting like advice on how do you blend it? What if you didn't blend it? What's the pros? What's the cons? And dark hair and light hair and all this stuff, right? And so I'm sitting at the table later that day with my husband, and I was like, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but there are some ways that you can blend it and make that skunk line not look so bad. And then I caught myself and I'm like, wait, there I go again. And then he looks at me and he's like, Mel, if you're going to do it, just do it and go all in. I was like, no, when you tell me to go all in, I'll go all in. He said the word all in. And I was like, you're right. Okay. He's like, who cares? And then there's a little piece of me that's like, oh, he doesn't understand. Like, oh, he's a guy. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get like the societal programming. He doesn't get like all of this started surfacing, which is again, the ego. What he's doing is just not playing in to my ego, to the voices in my head that are looking for someone to like just agree with me in that moment. So I really appreciate that about him. I still went on to talk to my sister-in-law who does hair, to talk to a couple people that were my Facebook friends that did this before and asked for their advice to come upon my conclusion, which is just leave it. Just leave it. Go all in, let it come out and do its thing. Now, not everyone in my life is in agreement with this. And I've really had to hold a boundary of what is good for me at this time. Remembering that outside opinions or judgments are only coming from within a person's self. Like their fears or their concerns are theirs. And usually it's theirs about themselves that then they express outwardly. And I'm fine with that. I'm feeling called to let these rocks, so to speak, let these rocks, or take these rocks out of my backpack and put them down. I'm free now. Now, there'd be a difference if I colored my hair because I really liked it and it suited me, or if I colored my hair to hide a piece of me. And I've hid pieces of myself, my thoughts, my beliefs and things for years. My experiences, my story, and I'm tired of it. I've busted through a lot of those blocks on the inner, which are now reflecting on the outer. It's similar to when we talk about when we change how we view our current experience, our life, when we put focus on more of what's good or what we're grateful for, that's what helps shift our external reality and new opportunities start coming in, right? So it's an inside job to reflect the outside. I feel like this is the same. Owning my power, stepping into my power, who I am, what I came here to earth to do, embracing that on the inner, and it's reflecting and will be reflecting on the outer. This isn't for everyone. This is actually the last thing I thought was going to come to the surface. I never even would have actually thought it came to the surface. However, I take that back. Over the last probably 9 months, the thought, now that I think about it, the thought has kind of popped in my head just for a split second. And I did ask my hairdresser one time, like, what people do, which might have been like 6 weeks ago. And I was like, oh gosh. And then like, rewind. That just sounds like too much work. So I can't say that I've never thought about it, but when I asked for resistance to be released, I never would have thought this was the next key to unlock the next door. Will I dye my hair again someday? Maybe. But at that time, if I choose to do that again, it won't be coming from a space of hiding. It'll be from a space like, oh, I like it. And I just want to put a quick plug in with me saying that is don't be fooled, because I've told myself for a long time, I just like my hair. I didn't even let myself go there. Well, I don't even know if I can say I didn't let myself. I just didn't. It just never came up to the surface. I didn't have that awareness, probably because it wasn't the time, that my hiding a piece of me was actually creating a block. So here we are. This isn't about just going all natural. The funniest comment I've had is, if you start wearing robes and sandals, I'm going to throw my hands up. I'm like, you better throw them up now. I mean, I know it was meant to like be funny, but like, I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm going to be me in the inner. I'm going to be me on the outer. I'm going to see what's under there. And it'll be interesting. I'm kind of getting excited to get the looks. And you guys, I'm not buying in to the program. The program that exists in a collective of women that gray hair, silver hair represents your old, your Haggard, which means you're undesirable or unattractive, or people are going to think differently of you. If people think differently of me, okay, fine. I'm okay with that. Thank you for cheering me on. I'm not going to be old and haggard. I'm still me. I'm still shining. I'm still here to help you, to inspire you, to just be you and do you. If you guys want to follow me on this journey, I'll be sure to keep you up to date. You can like this video, you can share this video, you can subscribe to these videos. All right. Until next time, much love to you guys.